Good morning, Quinn Redeker, policemotortraining.com. I today wanted to go over something that's very simple, but it's one of those things that's kind of infinitely complex. What we're going to go over is circles, fast circles, okay? So what I've set up here, these cones are 60 feet apart from each other, and I'm going to walk you through how to get through cones to do full circles faster, all right? Circles seem like one of those areas on a course. It's just kind of a necessary evil. You go in, you go as fast as you can go. It's almost like riding in traffic. It's saying, hey, this is the fastest way to get through traffic. Well, how the hell do you do that, right? So let me walk you through this and what this is going to look like. Over here, you're going to start from back here where my motorcycle was. Right over here is going to be our first circle. Now, when I'm coming into a circle, there's a couple things. Let me get you away from me a little bit here. There's a couple things to think about when you're coming into a circle, all right? And the reason I've set these 60 feet away from each other is because I want you to get comfortable unleashing that motorcycle. Clutch all the way out, full throttle going into these sections, all right? I understand that we're trying to do tight cone patterns. I get it, but you need to unlock your mind to those areas on the course where we can really go faster. And circles and going into and out of circles is one of those areas. So that's why this space is pretty far. I understand you want to get good at full lock stuff. Well, these circles are full lock and they're tight. But the tricky part with circles is, as I've said before, getting into and out of in an efficient way. That's where you're going to make up your time, not necessarily the actual circle itself. Okay, so we're going to drive into this first circle. I'm going to take off from essentially where my motorcycle is. Now, when I'm coming in here, couple things I'm going to be doing. The first thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be on the brakes. I'm going to be coming into this on the brakes because I'm carrying speed, right? Now, as I'm on the brakes, somewhere back here, and you're going to hear it, I'm going to set up my clutch throttle. As I've always said, before you add lean angle, have that clutch throttle set up. Just another thing you get done before you have to move into lean angle. It's safer, it's better, it's easier. The bike falls over simpler, easier. So now I'm in here on the brakes. As I'm on the brakes, I'm setting up the clutch throttle. Now I'm in the lean angle. So now I'm trail braking. My front brake's on, my rear brake's on. The throttle is in that nice clutch hum area. I've got the gray area set. Now the bars lock over. Having that front brake on into the turn is going to help those bars snap over. So now that I lock the bars over, I'm going to live in this balance ball space up over the bike. I'm trailing the rear brake a little bit. Nice smooth clutch throttle. I'm carrying my speed around here. Ghost Rider. I'm getting my head around, about a second ahead of where I am. Once I'm about right here, I can pick up my next point. The sooner you can pick up the next point that you're going to be headed to, the sooner your mind starts thinking about going to that place, okay? Why is that important? Because if I'm just living here, I'm going to be meandering through this pattern until right about here, and then I realize, oh, I'm out. No. We want to be in here after we've made our full circle. Once I'm back here, I'm picking that point up. Now I already know, okay, I'm going to be accelerating into there. Now, right about here, I'm starting to transition onto the throttle. I'm getting into the throttle, getting into that gray area with the clutch, and starting to put power to the rear wheel, and now I'm driving out. I want you to drive hard, hard, hard into this next section. So we're driving nice and hard into here. Now as I come into here, same thing. Now I'm on the brakes. I'm setting up my clutch throttle. I'm starting to trail brake into this. As I come through here, the bars snap into full lock. I'm balanced up over the motorcycle. I've got I'm dragging the rear brake. I've got a nice smooth platform right here. I'm not trying to push on the throttle. I'm not trying to upset the clutch. I don't want the motorcycle and the chassis unsettled in the circle. If you do that, you start kind of getting herky-jerky. The front end's bobbing and the motorcycle's changing lean angle. You're going to lose traction on the front. It's just slower. It's sloppy. You don't want to do it. Does it happen sometimes? Sure. So now that I'm coming through here, dragging the rear brake nice and smooth up over the bike, aha, there's the point I want to pick. I can see it from here. Now I'm starting to transition into power all through here. I'm driving hard into this. Same thing, driving hard. Clutch is all the way out. Throttle is on. I'm angry. Not really, but anyways. So now you're about here. Same thing. I'm on the brakes coming in. I'm starting to set up the clutch throttle as now I've got lean angle. So the clutch throttle is set. That job is done. I'm leaned over, trailing my brakes in. The bars lock in, nice and easy. The bike's loaded. I'm coming through here. I have the rear brake dragging. I'm living on top of this bike. At this point here in this section, in all these circles, not much else is going on. The brake is nice and smooth. The clutch and throttle is set and humming. My weight is up over the bike. The only thing that really changes is, although my head and eyes are, somewhere around here as I go, once I get about here, you'll see I'm going to start trying to really look down track and pick up that next point sooner. So, for example, if I'm going through here and my head's here, it'll look like this. So I'm coming around, right? So I'm coming around here, and then once I'm about here, I'm going to look and really try to pick that spot up, okay? And then, same thing, now I'm coming out, I'm driving hard out of this, going around. Last one is over here. All this walking is exhausting. I need to ride. Okay, on the brakes, trail braking in, I've set up my clutch throttle, bike's leaned over, I still have the front brake on, locking the bars over. And what do I mean by locking the bars over? When I'm coming into this turn, I've got lean angle, I've set up the clutch throttle, but I'm still trail braking. Having that front brake on into the turn helps snap the bars into that lock position. So now I'm living up over the bike, balance ball. I'm coming through here, got my head and eyes around, picking up my point, there it is. Getting on the clutch, getting on that clutch throttle right here and power, and I'm out. Remember, we're talking about tenths of a second here, tenths of a second there. If I can beat you by a thousandth, I still win, right? But all these little spots, these are those parts on the course where people just kind of go through them like they're in single file waiting to get out of a sporting event. That's not what we're doing here, guys. We're trying to ask ourselves, what can I do to go faster anywhere and everywhere on the course? So a couple things I want you to think about when you're doing this. Do this slow. What we want to do is unsettle the chassis as little as possible. So when you're on the gas, you're on the brake, you're leaned over, all those things, all those inputs can absolutely herky-jerky the motorcycle. So if you're feeling those things, I made a sheet. This is faster circles. If you go to policemotortraining.com, this will be one of the training drills. You're going to find full notes on here with a little diagram of the actual triangle. You can download that, take this with you, go to the practice facility, have this with you. It kind of talks about, so just really quick, just a couple things that you might notice you're not doing it right. If you're setting the clutch and throttle up and you're already leaned over and now you're trying to find that gray area, you've done it too late. So you need to start setting that up earlier. You can put a marker on the course, I would suggest, to say, okay, let that be your guide to say, okay, I need to have the clutch throttle set up right there. And then you make sure that's set up. If you feel that on-off with the throttle or on-off with the clutch as you're in the circle, wrong. To set that up nice and smooth. If you need to start slow, start slow. And then weak drives out of the circle. When we come out of the circle, you're in the gray area for a sec. Let that clutch out and drive, okay? Don't get caught up in, oh, this is a slow pattern. I've got the clutch in the gray area and I'm meandering through the pattern. No, we have a straightaway here. I want to hear your motorcycle. I want to hear that thing wound out, okay? All right, so I'm going to hop on the bike. I'm going to do a couple of these. The challenge with this, I should say, the little challenge that I have is start timing yourself. Set this up before you work these drills. I have a start-stop box here. Clock will start when you take off. You're going to ride through the pattern, and it'll stop when you stop on this blue line. See what your time is. Try to get a baseline, and then start working this drill, and let that be your guide to see how you're picking up your speed. Okay, we're on the bike. We're going to do a little demo. I'm going to go slow first, and then we'll start trying to pick up the pace. Now again, from here, we're starting from a stop. So when I take off at a motor competition and I'm trying to get going, I don't meander. I don't know why that's a buzzword today. We don't meander out of the hole, okay? I'm getting right, getting set, getting my weight up, and I drive out. Okay, we want to launch. Now when I'm coming in here, I'm setting up the clutch throttle early.
I'm trail braking in, getting my head and eyes around, coming through here, picking up that next point, driving to it, set up, driving to it. Now I don't want to overshoot these, and I'll show you what that looks like. But I'm picking up the point now. There, I got it. And I'm driving to it, setting up that clutch throttle early, coming through here, right? I don't want this all herky-jerky. And then I'm picking up that point, and I'm out. All right? So a couple things to think about. You're going to be going fast. You don't want to do this. So you take off. You don't want to do this. We don't want to be out here. We're eating up a lot of real estate, right? And you'll see that. So how is that happening? Well, it's happening because maybe you're not on the brakes hard enough or soon enough when you come into here. And I'm living right here on top of the bike, picking up my spot and driving up over the bike, set up clutch throttle, get my head around, full lock, picking up my next spot, driving out to it. Okay, nice and smooth. Get up over the bike, pick up that spot.
Work on this, work on this, work on this. Go slow and pick up your pace. What you'll find if you start working on these things, you're going to get better at the transition between clutch and throttle, lean angle, and power overlap. All right? PleaseMotorTraining.com. Make sure you print up that sheet, and then you can throw that on your tank and practice this. You guys have a great day.